Good afternoon, or maybe I should say good evening, everyone. I think we can do better than that. This is the end of first day. Good evening. Oh, that makes me feel a lot better. This room is packed, and for all of you out there in virtual, I'm sure it's packed at home for you too. Oh my gosh, how has this day one of Convention 2017 been? I am channeling my inner doctor. Do I look in their color blue, right? How awesome was this afternoon and day one? Oh my gosh, I am so excited. My name is Dawn Campbell. I'm the regional director for the South. And well, thank you, Southern. Woo! I am so excited to be here in this room with you as well as in virtual. So whether you're here, whether you're at home, whether you're on the beach, whether you're in your car, we are all here, and we're here for establishing connections and following up. Oh my goodness. Okay, so for those of you that are coming in the room, there's plenty of seats. Please come on in. Well, there's actually, raise your hand if there's any available seats next to you. Okay, all right, come on in and sit on down. All right, let's go over a couple of rules. If you've been to a breakout, which most of you have, I would say, they're the same rules. Any kind of live streaming like Facebook Live or videoing is prohibited. You are welcome, and I welcome you to take as many pictures as you would like of all of the slides that you'll see today. But of course, this is for your personal use. All of the content that you will see is proprietary to both Rodan and Fields and the speakers that you're going to hear from in just a few minutes. But most importantly, I want you to tune in, keep your ears open, have your paper and pen out, because you are in for a treat today. I know, woo, that's right. It's not going to be just me that is up here talking to you about establishing connections. We want you to have a lot of fun today, and I get to share the stage with two of my most favorite people in all of the world, two of our top leaders that I know so many of you know and love and adore, and they are going to share with you, even all of you at home, all of their tips and their best practices on connecting and following up and doing what they're doing in their business. Tried and true methods that they actually practice, and they coach their teams to do the exact same thing. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome to the stage best friends, business partners, and two gals that have become my good friends, Heidi Crenshaw and Liz Duggar. Hello. All right, so should we get started? Let's do it. All right.
Who was your last year? Do you remember this? Power pose, baby.
Maybe we should all start off with this.
Yeah, everybody stand.
Everybody in the room, or at home, and power pose.
Big. Make yourself big.
That's right.
That's it. Good job.
All right, thank you. Okay. Woo. That's right. Thank you. Okay. So I think it's important that you get to know these ladies a little bit. I'd like them to share their quick story because I know they have a lot to talk about. So they're going to share their stories with you. Why don't we start with Liz?
Okay, well, welcome everybody. I am so excited and so honored to train today. And I personally have a huge team that's tuning in virtually. We have a huge team in the Smoky Mountains at retreats. We also have a huge team in Atlanta. So hello to all of them. We love you guys. So a little bit about me. I'm a mom and I am a wife. And I have a marketing background. I spent about 8 years in the boating industry, owned my own marketing company. And this business came across my path about 7 years ago. And it was at a time in my life where I was crossroads. I was having babies and I was having a big time career. And my mom stayed home with us when I was little. She sacrificed her nursing career to be home with us. So growing up as a little girl, I was intuitive enough to know that she missed that. And so growing up, I thought out of my mind, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be that super present mom like she is, and I'm going to have a big time career. Well, I popped that first out, and yeah, I know I'm on stay home now. So I was at a point in my life where I had come to realize where something was going to have to be sacrificed, and it wasn't going to be my kids. And I was sad about that. So thankfully a good friend of mine shared Rodan and Fields with me. And I originally saw this incredible brand because of my marketing background. I saw how I could attach myself to these doctors and grow a huge business, which is what I did. And yes, it's been a huge financial blessing to my family. But the best part, the absolute best part of this business are the relationships that I've developed. It could all go away tomorrow, and the relationships that I've built and rekindled in this business mean far more to me than the money does. So one of those relationships is my business partner and best friend. We've known each other for over 20 years. We met in cheerleading jump circle freshman year. I remember looking across the gym and saying, that has got to be the cutest, happiest person I've ever seen in my life. And we have had so much fun together. What a blessing it has been to be able to do this with her, Becky Crenshaw.
Aren't they so cute? I'm sure you feel it.
I just don't even know how to begin. Just with what an honor it is to be with you all day. I wish I could share that I have this marketing background, this business about me. But if you know anything about me, you know that that is not my story at all. When Liz introduced Rodan and Fields to me, my husband and I had served on a college campus at the University of Tennessee, go Vols, for 9 years as college ministers, ministering to college students. And my background actually was in education. I was Master's of Secondary Ed English writer. I love words, English language, but I'm not a business person. So when Liz introduced Rodan and Fields to me, I thought, discount. Anybody else? Like wholesale value, right? And so she said, you know, if this is a great opportunity. And I thought, you know what, if I could make enough money to cover salaries and ball fees, I think this would be worth it, and to cover the cost of my product. And then once I got into it, I thought, this is something more than that. And I thought if I could make it really big, you know my story, I might make it to Dollywood with season passes. Anybody know like Dollywood? Dolly Park has a theme park. I mean, that's my dream trip, to bring all of you to Dollywood with me. So I am proud to say I am a 5-year season pass holder. Thank you, Rodan and Bill. This year we have a lot of great information, lots of great tools for your belt today. This training, lots of acronyms. The English Girl still comes out. So,
all right, so this is what they're going to talk about today. What they're going to look at is first they're going to talk about the difference between a prospect and a recruit. And they're going to introduce their first acronym. So get out your paper and your pen. They'll also talk about the how and the when to follow up. That's one of the biggest questions I know I get. They will talk about it. They'll give you a tip to follow on what to do. And language. They will give you specific language to use, that works that they coach their team on and that they use themselves. And last, of course, they can't stop without talking about social media and how they leverage it the smart way. All right, so let's start us off with prospect or recruit. What's the difference? All right, Becky, start it off for us.
okay, so I believe that these are two words that are used so interchangeably in our business, but they are not the same thing. So a lot of times when I'm asking someone if I'm doing a power shot, you know, who are you recruiting this week? That is not the same question as who are you prospecting. So let's talk about the difference between the two. So a prospect is, think of the letter P. All right, this is someone who has potential. This is a possibility. Think of hope. Okay, this is someone that you recognize as potential for your business. They're a prospect, but they don't know they're a prospect. Okay, and then recruiting, that think of R, enroll. This is when they are actually enrolling in the business opportunity. So think of a coach. I used to live across the street from the Lady Vols head volleyball coach. And he would be gone for weeks at a time recruiting. So what was he doing? He was actually going to the school where the prospect was, and he was sitting down with the family, having a meal, and asking them to join the team and come to the University of Tennessee. He had been prospecting this student for months prior. Okay, scouts were at the games watching the player. He was watching film on this student. So he was prospecting. He saw potential in this player, but he didn't recruit them until he asked him to join the team. So I hope that brings a lot of clarity. So who are you looking to recruit? Okay, so first acronym. This is one of the best I've heard yet. You are looking for people that make your head spin. All right, SPIN. The S stands for successful people. These are people who have a past history of success, and this could be in the business world. It could be a successful mom. One of my best friends and business partners, Tisha Clapp, level 5 leader. She has 6 kids. They are awesome kids. She's a successful mom, okay? So she would be a successful business person, and she obviously is. Successful people. Next, P. These are people that are people. These are the people that when they walk in the room, everybody's like, have a seat over here. Or they take a picture and there's 350 likes on social media. These are people that when they walk in the room, there's a woo and a draw about them. Influential people. These are people who have platform in their community. They have platform when they speak, people lean in to listen to them. They have influence around them. They make a mark on their network. And then N, meet the product people. These are people who love the product. Maybe it's a great PC of yours, but maybe it's someone who's interested in the product, but you recognize their potential, their prospect. You know they're a prospect, so when you start a conversation, you immediately say, hey, I need to entertain this for a second, get that conversation going. Okay, so once you have your recruit, someone's making your head, then what? This has been an acronym that my team has used that has been helpful in understanding how to move a prospect through the pipeline to the recruit. Then we all do the formula for this, like A plus B equals C, and then we all sign up our people. Okay, so I can't do that exactly, but this is going to help you understand where your people are in the process. Maybe you are still prospecting and you think you're recruiting them. So you want to present to them your idea. I is when you identify that this person would be a great candidate for the business. Okay, example. I was once a young have such a sweet community. They help each other at the front desk. She was adorable. She was gorgeous. Every time that door opened, she greeted them with a smile. She was contagious. I immediately identified her as someone I wanted to get to know to introduce her to the business. But that was the first step. So she is now a prospect, right? So next, D, drip. I remember when I started the business, I called Liz one day and I was like, I just don't know what to do. Does anybody feel that way? Like, I just do not know what I'm doing. Liz said, just drip. You're a leaky faucet. Drip on everybody. So how do you drip? What does that sound like? Dripping is when you are cluing people in that you do something different. So maybe you just mention in conversation that, you know, I work from home, or I've got to get back, I've got a conference call at the house. You're just dripping, letting them know that you do something a little different. E, engage. This is the first time that their name and the words Rodan and Fields has entered the same sentence. So you engage them with an invitation, usually to something. So maybe you invite them to take your solution tool. Maybe you have a bag full of samples. That ain't like, who never thought? Would you like to try one? So you engage them in that moment, and you're introducing them to Rodan and Fields. So once you have introduced them, you make them into an event, then you get to a place you say, and this is the most important. This is the ask. It's the point blank. There's no confusion about it. Hands on the shoulders, eye to eye. You would be amazing at this. I would love to talk to you and give you a lot of information, and I would really love to see you lock arms and build this business together. That is that. Is there any uncertainty that I've asked you to join the business? No, I want to work with you. So that's the ask.
So how many of you are so direct like that and actually ask the ask? Raise your hand if you do. I want everybody to raise your hand, and you too at home, raise your hand. You should be direct and ask that. But remember that is that process, just like Becky talked about, the IDEA. But I will say the number one question I always get asked is, I don't even know where to start. How do I start the conversation? What tips do you have for that?
Okay, so language girl here. I love language. So one question I get a lot is, what do I say to people? You ever send a screenshot to your boxer and say, how does this look, right? I'm going to give you some tips. I call my 5 buffer conversations. So what is a buffer? A buffer is something that is a shock absorber. It's a protective barrier. So we're wanting to absorb some shock for them, but we're wanting to create just a little protective barrier for ourselves because it's scary out there, right? So this is going to make you a little bit more comfortable with approaching your process. The first buffer is an event. I encourage my team members have a standing event on your calendar. So, for example, when you're meeting a girl, you're trying to drip and you're getting to the engage, you can say, oh, girl, before I forget, the first Friday of every month, I have a wine and cheese. We plan some products. We have a great time of fellowship. I'd love for you to come. Boom. You can immediately plug her into that event. That's a great buffer conversation. So get a standing event on your calendar all the time. Next, city. You're an expert on your city because you live there. But what if your prospect lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee, or Atlanta, Georgia? You're not an expert on that city, but they are. So you might send that Facebook message or text and say, hey girl, random question. I want to pick your brain on Chattanooga. Is it okay to give you a quick call? Is it okay to ask for your number? And so when they get on the call, you start engaging them about the city. Next would be a sample. I love samples. They're like little seeds you sow in the field of rhododendron fields. Okay, so your sample is a buffer conversation. I've never had anybody turn me down when I'm giving something away. Really? I mean, have you ever just turned away a sample at the mall? I don't. I eat them all. I just walk around just eating and eating and eating. So that's what you're doing. You're sowing rhododendron field seeds, and we all know that seed produces a crop of its own kind, right? So you might just get you a customer out of that. So you sow those samples. That's a great buffer conversation. And then Honest Abe, this is arguably my favorite. This is where it's usually a chicken lister, okay? A chicken lister that makes you a little nervous. And you would say, okay, girl, can I just be honest here? I'm about to wet my pants sending this message. You are so awesome. You intimidate me so big. But I would absolutely bury my head in a hole if you ever did rhododendron fields with anybody else. So here I am, laying myself bare. I would love to talk to you about this opportunity. And they're usually going to come back and say, oh my word, that is so sweet. So nobody's really going to turn that away, all right? Even if they tell you no, they're going to walk away being like, gosh, I feel so encouraged by that. And then last, the team challenge. Okay, we're about to give you one, so perk up. So the team challenge is when you blame it on your sponsor. I blame so much on Liz Duggar. She doesn't even know it. Hey girl, Liz has a challenge for me, and you know I'm competitive. So she's trying to get me to see how many three-way calls or conference calls I can bring her. It really helps me to hear her talk about the business to my people. Would you be a buddy and get on the phone with her and let's do let me win my challenge? So that could be the same with Solution Tool. My sponsors asked me to see if I can get 10 people to take this quiz. Would you mind helping me out? So we have a team challenge.
Yeah, what should we do?
Okay, three-way call?
Three-way calls are good. How many?
So blame it on Becky.
Yeah.
Team challenge.
Blame it on convention.
Yes. Convention challenge to see how many people you can bring your business partner as a conference call to learn more about how to talk about the business opportunity. Does that sound good?
Let's give them a number.
How many?
Let's say some of them might not be using three-way calls yet. So let's just say 3 by next week.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, that is easy.
It's Friday. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, 3.
That sounds
How
good?
many are going to do it? Raise your hand really big.
Okay. Blame it on
All
Becky.
right. Blame it on Becky. That's the challenge. Blame it on Becky. Okay, I hope you all got that. Well, first off, that acronym, but then all of these tips on those buffer conversations. That's the biggest thing, is having that thing to talk about. All right. And what I love that she talked about is that it's about their needs too, looking at them, because you're building this relationship with them, with your prospect. You have to take your agenda out of it, because it is not about you. It is about them. Has everybody heard the acronym TINY? Their interests, right? Say it with me. Their interests, not yours.
And I wanted to add to that too, if it's okay. So when you are asking someone, one thing that I have found that people will resonate more with their pain than their potential. So a lot of times we use language like, girl, you will be great at this. You are awesome. Well, they may not think, gosh, yeah, I'm going to be great. I am awesome. I mean, really. But you might say, I heard that you said that there's a need. Maybe your husband lost his job, or you're trying to fund this for your kids. They can identify more with their pain than you see their potential. So always bring out their need for Rodan and Fields. They're more likely to join at the ask.
All right, so about taking your agenda out of it, Liz, tell us about your tips how to do that.
Yeah, so who in here, and all of you viewing in virtually, who in here, when you joined Rodan and Fields, all of your family joined immediately? Raise your hand.
I saw one hand.
Okay.
I did see a hand.
Who is that?
Get up
All
here.
hand too. Yeah. So it can happen. It can happen, but it's very rare. And it did not happen to me. Okay. I had to learn how to talk to strangers, how to make those cold contacts. And that can be so daunting and so stressful and create a lot of anxiety, especially for somebody like me who's pretty introverted. And so I had a really hard time with this. We live in town with another RFX Circle Achiever, Allie Box, who was one of the first. So I was talking to her about this early on in my business. And she said, Liz, you are just going to have to take the agenda out. And I was like, what? That is my agenda, to tell this person about Rodan and Fields. And she said, no, your agenda is to develop a relationship and develop trust and credibility. And after I started doing this, my business changed and my pipeline never went dry. All right, so I cannot leave this stage without giving you an acronym, all right? Because this presentation deck is filled with acronyms. And I'm a business person. We don't do acronyms. So anyway, I came up with one, and I'm super excited about it. I hope you like it. It's called RELAX. RELAX. The R stands for recognize. You should always be looking for people. So recognize a power partner. You look for someone that looks good, that dresses nicely, that speaks well, that carries themselves well, okay? E, make eye contact with people. Sometimes I'll make eye contact and smile, and people will talk to me. I don't even have to say anything, okay? L, love on that person. Love, comment, compliment, identify with them. A, ask questions. You be the best darn question asker. I swear I could give Katie Couric a run for her money, all right? X. We are going to X in the Facebook friend box before we leave this person. We are going to be Facebook friends with them so that we can develop that trust and credibility with these people. Okay, so this is a great example. My son Paxton just started kindergarten, and yes, I was super sad, but I was also very excited because this is a great opportunity for me to meet new people. So I walk into orientation, I spy these two moms, two adorable little boys, so I recognize, I make eye contact, I walk over towards them, I love on them. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Is he excited? I ask questions. Do you have other kids here? Do you know anyone else here? Like we totally should be Facebook friends so that if anything happens, then we can connect with each other. So I'm asking questions, I'm commenting, I'm complimenting, I'm friending her on Facebook. We're developing that relationship. And before I get away from her, I screenshot it, okay? Because we're doing this all the time. We're making lots of friends, and you don't want to forget anybody, so you screenshot it. And this has totally changed my business.
So she's talking all about just building the relationship, not about her agenda on actually talking with people. And at the end of the day, if she gets a good friend and a Facebook friend and somebody to really share, what struggles with in kindergarten, then she gets that. But she could get a customer or a business partner or a power partner. She could get so much more too. But it's all about the dripping. It's not just right away. It is actually a dating game. So think about it like this. How many of you said yes on your very first date to a marriage proposal? Raise your hand. Said yes on the first date.
Gosh, that's
crazy. There's two. There are two. Congratulations.
Wow.
I don't know if any of you at home scary and maybe sometimes strange, and I don't know, but it is a dating game. You're getting to know them, you're dripping on them, you're building up this relationship. That's what this is all about. And the key to this is that building that relationship, doing those reach outs, doing those drips, right? Just building that true relationship, being honest with each other and genuine. That momentum is what creates that relationship. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite quotes, and I don't know who quoted this, but it says, the moment you give up something, your opponent is enjoying the victory. Ugh, that is just a horrible feeling. That is honestly what keeps me up at night, is thinking that someone else is going to harvest a seed that I planted with Rodan and Fields. How many times have we seen people get into the business, they're so excited, they get their first no, and they go into the witness protection program, okay? It happens, and I've been in the business 7 years. It's happened a lot. And the worst and most excruciating thing for me to see is for the person that they reached out to be harvested by someone else because they didn't do their due diligence of follow-up. So what's happening in your minds is you're afraid that you're bugging people. You're afraid that you're being intrusive. But in reality, this is a business. You have to treat it like a business. And part of being in a business is follow-up. And if you are not doing your due diligence of follow-up, then eventually people will get harvested by someone else. People want to join in business with someone who is taking this seriously. And if you don't believe this in your mind right now, it's okay. But trust me, I've been in 7 years and I've had enough sideline conversations to know this is how prospects are thinking. They want someone who is serious and who is going to take them to the top. So if you're doing your due diligence of follow-up, then you're doing the right thing. Look at this data. Look at this data. So basically, Becky and I, we are just professional follow-uppers, okay? This first piece of data, 50% of people will give up on the first reach out. So half of this room is going to give up on the first reach out. Look at this second piece of data. Over a fourth of you are going to give up after that fourth reach out. All right, but this next piece of data is my favorite. It's not until the fifth, sixth, seventh touch point, reach out, follow up, that you're actually you're getting on their radar now. Like their ears are opening up. They can actually start understanding you are resonating with these people at this point. And so many people give up way too soon. This is a great example. One of my best friends, who's a level 5 leader in my business, Christy Lucas. We used to live in the same neighborhoods together. One day she was walking her fourth child. She had just had her fourth baby. She ended up in my driveway, and she confided in me that she did not want to go back to her pharmacy job. And I said, you should look at what I'm doing. I'm working in my driveway. And I said, I've invited you to all these events. I'd love to tell you more about it. And she started crying. She had had such a horrible experience in a previous direct sales business that it brought back all those feelings and emotions for her. She had gotten the vision, she was excited, all to be let down. So what did I do? I loved on her. I followed up with her. We still did life together. We went to church together. We lived in the same neighborhood together. I was always there. So we were also friends, but I was also doing my due diligence of follow-up. 3 years later, she got acne. Okay. I talked her into a business kit. She told me she wasn't going to build a business. And then she started building a business immediately. She went level 5 faster than anybody that I brought into the business. The best part about this girl is she tells me at least once a month, Liz, thank you for never giving up on me. Thank you.
I love that. So who would have thought that, a bad case of acne could turn into something so amazing? Oh my goodness. So a couple key things about this. I don't know if this is even a surprise. Everything that's on this slide for you. I don't know if that's even a surprise. But a couple key things are these touch points, these follow-ups. What those are, that's just this drip. And it's not always, hi, remember me from Rodan and Fields? It might be liking a Facebook post. It might be asking them out for coffee. It might be just building that relationship and not at all talking about Rodan and Fields. That's truly what you're doing. You're dating, right? And we know, I know, we are dating a little bit.
Yes, we are.
But we know that it's not until about that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 that people tend to actually say yes. People do say yes on number 1. People do say yes at follow-up number 5, but it tends to be on average mostly between 8 and 12. So I'm going to ask this room, how many of you said yes the very first time someone approached them about Rodan and Fields? And if you're at home, raise your hand too. Okay, there's a handful. I'm a really bad guesstimator, but maybe 40 of 1,200, so 40-ish. Okay, how many took about 6 months? Took a few months to say yes. Okay, a lot more in that group. Oh, how many of you? My foot stuck. Hold on here.
Just a moment, virtual.
We got it. Yay. You guys do not worry at all. This happens to me every single year.
I love it.
So how many of you took about a year or 2 to say yes to Rodan and Fields?
Wow.
Did anybody take longer than 2 years? A lot. How many of you were a preferred customer before?
Wow.
What does that tell you?
Wow.
Don't stop talking to people. Keep talking. That is huge. That is so important. The seed and the harvest, you've heard them both mention this multiple times today. That's what you're doing. So talk to us more about that, Liz.
Yeah, so I'm a visual girl, and I really just hope this resonates with you guys. This truly is seed time and harvest. Becky and I always say we're farmers, okay? So this first little seedling here, this is somebody you followed up with 2 to 3 times. Okay, so look at this. Like, it's not even open. Its ears aren't even open to me. This next one, this is somebody 5 to 8 times you've gotten on their radar. Okay, they're open, starting to grow a little. And then this last one, we are making ground here. This is lots of fertilizer, lots of water. We've answered some questions, maybe overcome an objection or 2, okay? We're making some ground. Does this make sense to everybody? This is truly a process.
So what not to do is just to plant those seeds and let somebody else water them and fertilize them and take them over. And we all know stories of where that's happened. So follow up, when and how. This is probably, I'd even say this is tied for the number 1 question that I get. When do I do it? How often do I do it? Because I don't want to be that person that bothers everybody, right? Nobody wants to be that. So what's your tip on this? Tell us, Becky.
So back to that formula. I'm going to do my best today to give you an A plus B equals C. So this isn't foolproof, but it's pretty close. So how often do we follow up? Do y'all have that question? Do y'all have that question? Like, what's too much? How long should I wait? So I always joke and say that I built my business like Noah built the ark, 2 by 2. And so 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months. So everybody remember that. 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. So when you've made that initial contact, maybe you've sown a seed of a sample. So you say, hey girl, give this a shot. I'll get back with you in a couple of days. Okay? That's my mind. That's what I think. Maybe you've had a 3-way call with your upline leader. Hey girl, thanks so much for getting on the call with me. Talk to your husband, think it through, think of questions. I'll get back with you in a couple of days. You send an informational email. Look it over, think of questions. I'll get back with you in a couple of days. Got it? So let's say they need a little bit more time. Maybe they've come to an event, they're interested, they've got a lot going on. Girl, this is no pressure. You think, breathe. This is okay. I'll get back with you in a couple of weeks. So you want to give them a little space. 2 weeks is a good mile marker. But then what if they just say no? Okay, no, girl, thank you so much for thinking of me, but I am just not interested. I will say, listen, that is fine. Is it okay with you if I let you know when we're having this special? I always ask permission. Or I will say, part of my business practice is I'll always reach back in a couple months to see if anything's changed. So just for a practice, think of your life 2 months ago. Has a lot changed? I know for me, it was still like summer. We were about to start school. Now my boys are in 3 different sports. We are running like crazy. My husband's in school, works full time. I mean, our life looks very different than it did in the summer. We were like running around our bathing suits going to Sonic for happy hour. I mean, so much is different. So in 2 months, your prospect now may have a completely different outlook on this business. So 2 months is a good mile marker. And I want to encourage you that it's just a good business practice because it is professional. And like Liz said, people want to join professional people. So it's just a good practice.
But I know you've given me my favorite tip, and you taught me something really cool.
Okay, so we all need a personal assistant, right?
Yes.
So you have one, and her name is Siri. And you know that she will remind you in 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months to follow up. So let's say you've given that sample. You get in your car, Siri, remind me to call Lindsay in 2 days. Okay, I'll remind you. Siri, remind me to follow up with Sarah in 2 months. And she will put it to the day, and she will remind you 2 months from now. So that was for free. You're welcome. That right there. That's right. Change your game.
I use it all the time if she's the one that taught it to me. I am telling you, I now have a personal assistant for sure. Oh, okay. Social media. These girls have some tricks and some tips that they want to talk about and just tell you how to really leverage it the right way. Leverage it so that you are working your business smarter and not harder. So talk to us about this, Liz.
Yeah, so besides Maverick and Goose, we have our own personal wingman, and it's called social media. And so I've looked it up, and it actually is a real word, and Wikipedia defines it as a role that a person or thing may take when a friend needs support with approaching potential partners. Hello, that is us. But here is what I want you to think about. What if social media was a form of follow-up? What if it was? It is. It is. It is how you stay top of mind with your prospects. And here's a couple of tips that I will do. So let's just say I'm prospecting somebody in the medical field, and they're kind of trying to figure out like how they can do that with a busy career. I will gear my Rodan and Fields post on my personal page of people who have been in the medical field and have a successful Rodan and Fields career. If I'm talking to somebody about Soothe, I will all day long post Soothe before and after pictures. Okay, this is subtle and less intrusive ways of staying top of mind, and you're doing it indirectly, and it's genius. If you are not tapping into social media, you're making this a whole lot harder for yourself. It is hard for us to speak to the masses in person. Can I get an amen? Yeah. And this allows you to be in front of everybody at once without having to be in their face and to be able to stay top of mind. Don't get discouraged. I was in this business for 8 months, posting regularly. Nobody ever liked anything. Nobody ever commented. It was like crickets going off. Back then, I don't know why I kept doing it, but I did. And eventually what started to happen was I would run into people at Target, and they would be like, I saw that before and after picture you posted. Do you think you have anything for me? Or I'd run into somebody at church, and they'd say, hey, do you think this would be something that will work? So they weren't liking, they weren't commenting, but they were watching.
That's huge. They are watching. How many of you here or at home have thought, gosh, I don't know why I'm posting. I don't have any likes. Has anybody felt like that? Okay, I see everybody raising their hand. Everybody's shaking their head. But you're saying just don't stop.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. Keep posting.
Yep.
All right. I know you have some great examples
Yeah, so
too.
these are just some great examples of what I personally would consider great Rodan and Fields posts. So this one is RFX Circle Achiever Allie Bach. She's just talking about how she attended a Rodan and Fields business meeting. My personal sponsor, who is super clever, talked about how she had to pay an overage for her baggage because of all of her Rodan and Fields products. And then lastly, my direct level 5, the beautiful Leanne Ryback, didn't say anything. All she did was post a before and after picture. And who knows that pictures speak words, 1,000 words.
So I will tell you that Leanne, how many of you have actually posted Leanne's picture? Okay.
Whoa!
Yes, I have seen that picture posted a lot, and I would before and afters. When I see them in real life, I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's like a celebrity. I'm like, why would I know her? But that's really what this is all about because it is top of mind. It's right there. And that picture, it's worth 1,000 words for sure. All right, here's some more too.
Yeah, so outside of Rodan and Fields, it is crucial that you live a big life on social media, okay? Social media is meant to be an entertaining outlet. And if you are not providing entertaining content outside of Rodan and Fields, that's when people are going to unfollow you and they're not going to watch what you're doing. And we want them to watch what we're doing because we're living a big life. So this is my husband and my daughter. Aren't they so beautiful? So my husband coached her softball team, so I talked about that. I'm always talking about my kids on social media. Amy Cassidy, she's one of my favorites to follow. She's an incredible writer. Many of you probably watch her. She was talking about her CrossFit experience.
And she's funny and hilarious.
Yes. And so, funny, keep it fun, funny, lighthearted, motivational, inspirational. This is from Carter Bednar, RFX Circle Achiever, and Ruthie Lyons. They're incredible on social media. You have got to provide interesting content or else people will stop watching you, and we do not want them to do that. So this almost is, it's a task because we have to live a big life on here so that people can see us.
And y'all are awesome. I mean, I follow you, so live big.
Yeah, live big. So they should share their hobbies and things like that, right? Okay. So this one on the left here was basically what I said every single day when I was shopping for convention. For sure. Every single day that went through my head. I will say this too. I've had people tell me when they're trying to market themselves and brand themselves and be out there, be entertaining and get those likes, that you need to have 3 things that you talk about outside of Rodan and Fields. So Rodan and Fields, of course, is one, but then you need 3 more. So maybe it's your family, maybe it's your hobby, maybe it's coffee, maybe it's shopping, maybe it's CrossFit, maybe it's church. Whatever it is, you need to have a few other things to speak to people, to keep them interested because they're watching, and you have to be entertaining. And I won't know one big thing that you say that your husband actually tells you.
Yeah, actually, let's see in this room hidden somewhere so I can't sing so it doesn't make me nervous. But he always says, Elizabeth, there is a time and a place for everything, and being controversial on social media is not the time or the place. Don't even engage in it because you just don't know who you're going to offend. Keep it clean, keep it lighthearted, and love. Yeah, lighthearted.
I like it. All right. Okay, so I know we've all felt this way, or, well, I'm not allowed to do your job, so I haven't been able to feel this way. But I know many of you have felt this way, where you feel like people go into this black hole, or the witness protection program, or they go totally MIA, and you are looking for them. What do you do? What do you do then?
Has anybody ever had a message sent and their face shows up in the little circle and they don't respond? That's happened to me once or twice or a million times. So the first rule of thumb, give them the benefit of the doubt, okay? How many of you have checked Facebook at a red light and then it turns green? Me. I mean, I can't respond right then, or I'm breaking the law. So you don't text and drop. So maybe they checked it at a red light. Maybe they were in car pickup and the kids got in the car. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Respond back. A lot of times I apologize for my lapse and we're getting back to them. You know, girl, so sorry. I've been so busy. Meant to follow up with you, but I just wanted to see if you had some time this week. Keep it short, keep it simple, and end with a question. Have you seen a new Starbucks just went up on North Shore? Would you like to meet there on Tuesday? End with a question. That initiates a response. So keep it short, benefit of the doubt, end with a question. I like that.
All right, so one thing that's worked for me, getting no response ever from someone, like you feel like you need to go knock on their door, maybe they're hiding somewhere. So who in here will binge watch Say Yes to the Dress? I love that show, Say Yes to the Dress. Okay, so my favorite one is the Atlanta one, and there was one show where Monty was helping this bride, and she had a certain style of dress that she wanted to try on. She kept trying on that same style. The family would be like, no. It started to get really discouraging, okay? And so Monty was like, we're just going to shock the system. And so he, like, completely changed the style of dress that she was trying on. And so that's what you're going to do, is we are going to shock the system. We're just going to change the subject, okay? We are going to take the agenda out of it and go back to being friends, okay? So one thing this is just an example. Hey, girl, we're having a cookout Friday night. Corey and I wanted to see if you and Joe wanted to come by. It's going to be super fun. I'm doing s'mores. Could you help me out? Okay, so just we're going back to being friends. We're taking the agenda out of it, and we'll move forward later on.
You really take it back to the drip. So let's say that the black hole happens, you start the process over again. Because they're still your prospect, right? Because we're relentless follow-uppers.
Yep.
So you go back to the beginning of the funnel and you start to drip and engage, and then we'll ask again in about 2 months.
Yep.
Okay?
Oh, so it goes back to IDEA. I like it. All right. So black hole. Okay, so we've gone over a lot. We've gone over a lot of acronyms for sure. And I hope y'all have all of them down. But these are your calls to action because we want you to come away from today with something to do. Of course, we already have your 3-way call challenge. But number 1, review and identify. So what this is looking over your list. Every one of you should have your list. If you don't have it with you at all times, you should. So make that another call to action. Go over your list. Identify where the people are, right? Where your prospects are in the IDEA. Figure that out. How do you get them moving? Where are they? Are they in the drip? Is it time for you to engage them? Is it time for you to just point blank ask them? Figure that out. Then second, contact and transition. So use all that knowledge with your list to move the people to the next step, right? We want you to move 10 people. So look over your list to do that. The next is call 10 people. Look at your list. Look at where 10 people are that maybe you've kind of let them go a little bit. You haven't reached out to them in a while. You've planted the seed, but then you've never added any water or fertilizer. And get them on that 2 by 2 by 2 rhythm, okay? Do that with at least 10 people. And then last, rewrite the list. It's time for you to get out your list, freshen it up, look at it, keep adding to it, and make a commitment to reach out to so many people, whatever you can do. Everybody's number is going to be different. So if you can do 2 a day, do 2 a day. If you can do 5 a day, do 5 a day. If you can do 10 a day, do 10 a day. But make that commitment and hold yourself accountable. That's key. And if you have a power partner, have them hold you accountable too, and you hold them accountable. I challenge everyone to not leave convention without getting themselves a power partner. So that's what I say. And of course, use social media as your wingman. All right, but I wanted to, first off, I really want to thank these 2 ladies up here on stage with me. I want to thank Liz and Becky. I met them on really my very first training that I ever did. And so they have a very special place in my heart. And I'm so thankful to be on stage with them. They're beautiful and intelligent, and they have so many tips to help every single one of you out. And you got just a taste of that today. But I want them to end with some of their final advice. So who wants to start here? All right, let's start with Liz.
Okay, so one of the best pieces of advice that I got was really early on in my journey in Rodan and Fields. I attended the 2011 convention in San Francisco, and Natalia Yasko stood on the stage, and I couldn't, I had to tell you what she trained on, but the one thing that she said, if you do not have a best friend and a power partner to build this business with, you go home when you leave here and find that person. And I found that person right here, my best friend and business partner, and it has been so fun on this journey.
Joy's time. So I think that it's fitting to end with another acronym. Sorry, I've got them like in my pocket. They're everywhere. So even though she is my best friend, maid of honor, she's my mentor. And as a consultant, I'm always growing and learning. And this is the one time in this business. Are y'all ready for this?
Oh my God.
That you want to be fat. F-A-T, fat. Faithful, available, and teachable. Faithful, available, and teachable. I'm going to implement what she encourages me to do. I'm available to talk with her, and I'm faithful to do it. And just relax and go and
Find somebody that makes your head spin.
Find somebody that makes your head spin, relax, and present your ideas. How about that? And be fat, but not lazy.
Thank you all so much. Thank you guys all so much. You have a great night. And don't forget about feedback, because it truly is a gift. And you can get that straight from the app. You all have a great night, and you too at home. Bye, everyone. Thank you.